Today, we're going to talk to you about the best places to visit if you travel to the United States. That's coming up. In today's lesson, we are going to share with you places that you should visit if you go to the United States. And this is just our opinion.
Places we like.
Yeah, I'm sure other people will see this and be like, no, that place is terrible.
Maybe.
But this is just our opinion, and we wanted to share that with some of you if you happen to be traveling to the United States for work or just for travel in general. So what we've done is we've chosen some different categories, and we've each picked a place that we think best represents that category. Let's start with what's the first category is best big city. Every country is known for certain cities, and those are typically the bigger cities. So in the United States, what's your favorite big city? I know this, I think.
I mean, hands down, for me, San Francisco. And it's not even a big city, really, by U.S. standards.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of big, but that whole area, there's a few big cities.
Yeah.
But
I think it's very different than other U.S. cities. I think its geography makes it very beautiful because it's hilly. So there are a lot of really nice views. Plus, it's on the ocean coast. And you have a wonderful view of the ocean, and there's just a lot about it that makes it really cool. You have the tram, the streetcars, it's just really pretty. Plus, the weather's amazing.
I was going to say, what is the other thing that everybody says about San Francisco?
So a lot of people complain about the weather in San Francisco,
really?
And they say, because they say like it's too cold. But if you go in the summer, I think a lot of people don't expect it to be, because
cool.
it's California, and people think, it's warm, but it's not. It's really not.
Yeah.
It's a little cold.
There's basically no summer and no winter.
It's always spring and
fall, which for me is ideal.
I love it. So I think it's always very nice, but do be prepared if you go there to bring a sweatshirt or a sweater or a jacket because it's windy and you are going to need it, even in the summer.
Yeah. But we used to live there, so I knew that's what you were going to choose.
City.
I would say best big city. It's no surprise, it's probably the most iconic city in the United States, and that is New York City.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go to the U.S. and go visit a big city, I would suggest you go to New York because there's no place like it on earth. It is what people say it is. It's a concrete jungle. Once you get inside the city, it's just building after building after building, and it's kind of amazing. There's so much to do. There's so much going on. It's also a melting pot of so many
cool.
different people from all over the world. So there's a lot to see and do there, and I would recommend checking out New York City.
Very interesting.
It is expensive though. So San Francisco.
Oh my God!
They're probably two of the most expensive places in the U.S. So be prepared to spend some money. What's the next category?
Place for nature.
Best place for nature. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share first, or do you want?
I can share, sure.
Okay.
So I feel like a disclaimer should be that a lot of these places that I'm going to talk about are in California or around California. So my favorite place for nature, Yosemite National Park. I think purely because when I went there, I was in awe, absolute awe of how huge those mountains look, those rocks. It just made me feel so tiny, and just puts everything in perspective. It's very difficult not to feel like you're in a postcard. I was completely shocked of how
great place for hiking, or even if you just want to drive through it. Like
visiting,
it's really impressive. For me, I would recommend that you go see the Grand Canyon, which is another, I think, very well-known landmark, especially for nature in the United States.
Massive.
The largest canyon in the world. So we did a road trip a couple years ago and drove by the Grand Canyon, and it's such an impressive sight. What I'll tell you about the Grand Canyon, just to show you how impressive it is that when you first see the Grand Canyon and you walk up there and you're overlooking the entire canyon, and it's just like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is incredible. You just don't see it anywhere else. And then it's one of those things that when we went there, you can kind of, I forget, we were on the South Rim, I think. You can walk along the side for like maybe 2 or 3 kilometers. And after walking along the side, you know how you kind of get used to something and, you know, you have that initial like, wow, this is amazing. And then after, you know, spending a couple hours out there, you kind of just get used to it. And it's like, it's still impressive, but it's not that initial wow. So what happened is after walking around, we got back in the car and we were leaving. And as we're leaving, you drive by these other sections. And it's like as soon as we left, it took no time whatsoever for that wow factor to come back, because as we're driving down the road, we just left. Like, 15 minutes later, we see some others like, oh my gosh, like turn the car, like, you know, let's pull over and look at it. Even though we had just seen it like 30 minutes ago.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and it was just that wow factor again.
Seems never ending.
Yeah. So it is an impressive place. Check it out. Next is best off the beaten path place. So if somebody talks about some place that's off the beaten path, it just means it's maybe lesser known, people don't know about it, or it's just maybe more difficult to get there. So what would you recommend off the beaten path?
So my favorite kind of geography is seaside, but like hilly cliffs. And with a view of the sea. So I don't really like flat beaches. And the reason I say that is this place has so many of them. It's just so beautiful. And it is the Pacific Northwest. So it's like, from what I've seen, I was blown away by how beautiful the beaches were along like kind of in the northwest of the country. You know, in Oregon and Washington. It's just so, like, everywhere you turn, you stop on the coast, and then you have this beautiful, gorgeous view of the sea and also of the cliffs around it. And it's just, I don't know, very, very nice. It's just one of my favorite things to just kind of stare and look at the ocean and listen to the sounds and just kind of relax. But I did want to say the reason why it's off the beaten path is because when you think of the beaches in the U.S. and all of that, you don't always think of like the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
like
people think of Florida or Southern California, or
where the beaches are a little different. They're beautiful in Florida too.
They're sandy beaches.
Yeah, but it's just a different kind of experience, and if you're into nature, hiking, all of that, you can have some gorgeous views. And you see it all from like a distance from up high. It's really cool. My
off the beaten path place is a place you probably have heard of, but it is just one that's more difficult to get to, and it's a little out of the way, and that would be Alaska. And the reason I say that is a long time ago, I worked up in Alaska for a summer, and definitely go during the summer. There's so much to see. There is a lot of diverse wildlife, the mountains, the geography. It's a very cool spot, and I think very unique for the United States, because you don't find that in the lower 48. You don't find that same geography. You definitely don't find the same wildlife. Right. So that would be my off the beaten path. Go to Alaska, rent an RV, and drive all through there, visit the national parks. Next is the best tourist attraction. So this is not really a city or a town, but an actual attraction that people would see. What do you think? Best tourist attraction? And by this category, I mean like something that's actually worth seeing, that where you go there, you're actually impressed with what you're seeing. That's why I choose the Golden Gate Bridge. It's very San Francisco.
biased, but it's so cool. So like it's this giant bridge, but it looks so amazing. You see it all over. I think it's the most Instagrammed bridge in the world, but not just because it's just such a beautiful view over the ocean, but also and over the whole city. It's just it's huge. It's red. It just photographs well, and it's definitely worth seeing. That's my best tourist attraction.
I would say another, I don't know, well-known tourist attraction, even though I think they have it in many countries all over the world now, but I'd say if you're going to go, like, check out Disney World. It's an actual, it's a little cheesier, but it's another tourist attraction. The reason I say Disney World is because if you go to Orlando, it's not there.
He means the one in Florida, not in California.
Yeah, not Disneyland in California, Disney World in Florida. And the reason for that is because there are so many different theme parks in Disney World. You have the Epcot Center, MGM Studios. You have
Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom. There's a lot of different things that you can do. It doesn't matter your age. There's a lot of cool stuff that you could find. But I'd say, again, that is a very popular tourist attraction in the United States. And it's not bad.
No, it's
Go
pretty
check
cool.
it out.
Pretty cool.
Next, we're going to tell you about the best small town. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go to the U.S. and you want to check out a small town, where would you go?
So... I really love this little town. And
it is a small town.
It was super tiny. We were driving from Atlanta, Georgia to Savannah, right? Mm-hmm. And somewhere in there we came across the town of Madison in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And this place is gorgeous. If you're interested in United States history, it has some beautiful antebellum architecture, and it's actually really, really hard to find because a lot of it was destroyed in the Civil War. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful Southern architecture with so much detail, and it's very beautiful. I definitely recommend it. A lot of the houses there have it, and it's like worth driving these giant Southern style mansions, and you're just like, whoa, look at that one. No, look at that one. So these beautiful houses.
It'd be a place to go drive through because it is really small. Drive, walk, or
spend a quiet weekend.
Yeah, maybe a weekend. It's not a place you'd go hang out for a week or two.
It's super tiny.
It's very, very tiny.
It's very
small. Mm-hmm. My best small town is not as small as Madison, but
really small.
It is also in the Southeast, and I would recommend Asheville. North Carolina is a cool town. It's known for, I think, it's a bit of a younger town. It's up in the mountains, so it's a cool mountain town. A lot of things to do outdoors. It's also, I think, more of a big music scene too. Mm-hmm. If you want to go see a lot of live music, a lot of different shows, check out Asheville. That's
cool.
Yeah, it's another good spot to go spend a weekend or spend a few days if you want to see kind of a different side to America. Because I think when people go to most countries, they go to these big cities. Yeah. San Francisco, New York, LA, Chicago. Yeah. It's always good to kind of get outside of those bigger cities and see some other places. So Asheville, North Carolina. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning about our recommendations if you're going to travel to the United States. And now we want to hear from you. If you are going to go to the United States, which place would you like to visit? It doesn't have to be something that was on our list, but some place that you have either been to before or you've heard of. Let us know in the comments, where would you like to go if you're going to visit the United States? If you enjoyed this lesson, please hit that like button down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.